What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PickSix podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. It is Friday, February 5th, and that means we are just about 48 hours away from Super Bowl LV, Super Bowl 55, going down in Tampa Bay. Excited for it, and we are going to give you a ton of best bets, props, picks, all kinds of stuff. Of course, you can dive into the feed. There's like 5 or 6 props podcasts already in there. We got a breach kicking podcast specific to that. Larry Hartstein, Jacob Gibbs is in there. And of course, we will have a Super Bowl recap, barring a Deshaun Watson or trade, Drew Brees retirement, or anything emergency wise. The next podcast will probably be after the Super Bowl. We'll have a ton of live stuff leading up to the Super Bowl. So check out Twitch and YouTube. And then afterwards, after the Super Bowl, if you want to hang around and be drunk in the chat with us, you can recap the Super Bowl. Joining me now to preview the Super Bowl, though, and give out best bets, some DFS advice, apparently. Pete Prisco live from Tampa. Kenny White whoring out for Tums on this podcast, this video podcast, and RJ White. What's up, guys?
I cannot wait to hear Pete's DFS picks. This is going to be great.
We have DFS picks? We don't do that on here.
I'm kidding.
Frank Stampfl is on the second part of the show. I'm like Burgundy, man. I'll read anything that's on the rundown.
The Germans discovered San Diego.
That's right. I am Will Brinson. By the way, speaking of props, this is the biggest spectacle of the year. It's the big game, and you want to win money. So go to CBS Sports Football Props Game. Check it out for a chance to compete for $1 million jackpot. That's right, $1 million if you correctly answer all of the questions. And there's a guaranteed $50,000 prize to the winner of the contest. It's free, and you can go to cbssports.com/props or download the CBS Sports app to play. So check that out. And we will give you out some props as well in this podcast. Unfortunately, we can't really brag about being good during the playoffs because we've sucked. Pete Prisco leads the way once again, except you lost $2 in the conference championship, and that was at first place for the weekend. RJ lost 56. I lost 75. Kenny lost 100. And overall standings after the divisional round, Pete is down $84. It is in first place, so that's not good. RJ is down 87. I'm down 129, and Kenny is down 183. We had $100 per week in each of the playoff weeks, and now we will have $200 for the Super Bowl. What do you have to say for yourself, Pete? Being leading in negative money.
We all stink. How about that? I mean, I stink less.
The best of the worst.
That's the only way to put it. And Kenny stinks the most in this competition. But we're all bad.
If this was Jeopardy, there'd be no final Jeopardy. They just kick us all off the show.
Right.
Well, this is double Jeopardy coming up.
Well, the thing is, we had an awesome regular season. So, I mean, we were, Pete and Kenny were in that 56 to 58% range. We were just hitting every week. So we were kind of due for some stinkers. It just happened to be, the most visible part of the season, the playoffs where everybody's tuned in. So.
I know what you're gonna do. You rally back and have a huge Super Bowl. That's what you do, and that's what we're gonna do. So let's get into the best bets. Look, there's only one game, not a lot to. I mean, I feel like it is weird by the end of like the Friday of the Super Bowl when you've known the matchup for 2 weeks. I mean, Pete, how many hours do you think you've spent on HQ? Like, do you almost feel like you're just in this like you're a robot, sort of just churning out the same lines over and over again by the time Friday rolls around?
How will they cover Tyreek Hill this time? How will they? I mean, it's the same over and over, but I mean, that's what you do with a game like this. And it's no different than any game other than it's weird here. I will say that this is a weird Super Bowl. There's no fans walking around or barely any, at least from the one team. I mean, the Bucs people live here, obviously, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of hoopla right now.
Do you think,
weird.
Do you think that'll affect the game itself? I mean, we didn't really affect it too much during the regular season.
Well, if you're not in the stadium, it's not going to look any different. TV, the games have looked the same. The league has been the same all year long. In the stadium, it'll look weird. I wonder if those 30,000 cutouts will be cheering hard for Tampa Bay in this game. No, it's just going to feel different. And I've been to the Super Bowl. I was at the Gulf War Super Bowl here, which was unbelievable. That one, when Whitney Houston sang the national anthem. We were at the 9/11 Super Bowl in New Orleans, and that was, you know, different and really tough at times when they played everybody's name at halftime who had passed away on 9/11. So it's just, this one has the strangest feel of all of them, bar none.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, let's get to the game itself, though. How will the Buccaneers cover Tyreek Hill? I think that's a big factor, and I'm very curious to see what sort of, like, what do you think? I mean, you weave your pick into the analysis, but how do you think the Bucs will handle this defensively? Are they going to come out and be aggressive? Are they going to try and play like zone on the back end and just get home with 4 early on to see if they can force Mahomes to be patient? What do you think they do, and how do you think it affects the game?
Well, see, this is kind of a hard dynamic because you like to be true to who you are, and who the Bucs are is a blitzing team. Mahomes kills the blitz. And so it leaves you in a lot of one-on-one situations if you do that. The flip side of that is they're banged up on the offensive line. So will they have to blitz as much? Will they be able to pressure them with, you know, just the 4? If Shaq Barrett and Pierre Paul can consistently win against those tackles, then I think there's going to be a chance you don't blitz. So I think early in the game, we'll get a feel for it. Also, how are they going to call the game? I think we've seen these playoff games. There's been a lot of grabbing and mugging, and they let it happen. The Bucs have done it in the last 2 games. The Chiefs did it against Buffalo, and they let it happen. So I'll see early on if there's some flags early, it might loosen things up a bit. But if I'm Todd Bowles, I think you have to be who you are, and who they are is an attacking defense. And on the other side, I went back and watched Spagnuolo against Brady in the Super Bowl, and he did some creative stuff in that game, and Tom Brady held the ball. And I'm curious to see what they do in terms of creativity to try and get Brady holding the ball a little bit. You know, one of the things they did, the double A gap blitz, they'd fake it. I don't know if you guys remember the play. Kavika Mitchell stepped back off the line of scrimmage. They thought he was dropping out, and he came up and he sacked Brady. And I think they're going to do a lot of that kind of thing in this game. So having said all that, you can defend these guys all you want. If you blitz, you're going to pay. And on the other side, I think that Brady's going to be able to score points as well. So I love the over in this game. Turnovers too. If you're a blitz attack defense, turnovers will happen. So that'll lead to short field. So I have, as one of my plays, $150 on the over in this game. I love the over.
It's usually reserved for the Brady Quinn football show, but for a big 3/4 of your budget bet on the over, we'll give it to you. I also think you we'll give you 56 because that's what it's closing at here on William Hill as we're recording this. Do we want to give him 56, guys?
56 it is.
Oh yeah, 56 across the board. That's the number.
Number.
And by the way, my score, I have the game going in the 35-30. So 65. I think it's high scoring.
Should have saved some of your budget for an alternate total, you know, like a 62 or something, and try to get plus 200 or whatever it is.
63.5 pays 2-1. 66.5 pays a little over 3-1. 70.5 pays 4-1, and 76.5 pays 7-1. If you were so inclined, Pete.
No, I'm not inclined.
RJ, what about you? What do you think about this game and how it looks from just a straight up side and total perspective, handicapping it?
Yeah, I'm on the other side of Pete on the total. I like the under. I'm betting 55 to win 50. 7 Super Bowls, about a total of 50 or more this century. All of them went under in regulation. Only one that finished over was that Pats Falcons game where it needed overtime to get there. It looked like it was going to go way under. And then, of course, the Pats rallied back. And it's still under in regulation. And then, of course, they're tied. So it gets to you over. The Kansas City defense, I think nobody's talking about. Obviously, it's the Tyreek Hill game. Is he going to blow up? Is it Mahomes? It's Brady. But that Kansas City defense had a pair of great performances in the playoffs against Cleveland and Buffalo. They played well against Tampa in their first meeting. And with their offense missing key players on the offensive line, I think Bucs could get a few more stops than expected. I don't think that they need to blitz as much. I know you want to say true to yourself, but those front four should be able to get there against that offensive line. So I think that there's going to be a few more stops than people expect, and it's going to stay under. And then on the side, I'm going to put 24 to win 20 on the Chiefs -3 at -120. I know the Sharps will be on the Bucs, but I'm going to back the team with the better quarterback and coach. I don't care about, the offensive line issues. I think they'll work around that. That just limits them from going in, I think, into the high 30s into instead being in the high 20s to low 30s in their score. So with that offense looking like its old self, erasing my worry that I had in their second half when they look sluggish, I think that they're going to get to the -3. And I think there is some blowout potential in this game. I mean, the Bucs got up 28-10 against Green Bay and barely hung on. Brady had 3 picks. He didn't look great in that second half. So it's not like he's on fire coming into this game. So I think if you like the Bucs, there's value on the money line later, closer to kickoff instead of playing that +3. But I'm going to be on the Chiefs side.
What about you, Kenny?
Yeah, my numbers only have the Chiefs. I've got the Chiefs a point higher in power ratings, and a couple big reasons why you lose another offensive tackle was a point drop off on the offensive line, and Vita Vea coming back for Tampa, they gained 1.5 points in their power rating, and I didn't add that on in the championship game because if I would have, maybe I would have just passed the side and I wouldn't have bet Green Bay in that game. He's such a difference maker. It's amazing when you find guys like that. The Hakeem Hicks for the Bears. Huge difference maker when he's in the lineup when out. Villaveda, when he's in and out, it's a big difference for this Bucs defense. And I don't think they're going to have to blitz because I think the outside guys are going to be able to dominate the tackles for Kansas City. They're inexperienced. And this is going to be a close game. I think it's right down to the wire. Yeah, I agree. Reed and Mahomes. Reed's the better coach. Mahomes is the better quarterback. Other than that, though, I really think Tampa's come on. I think Tampa's going to run the ball. I think they're going to be able to run the ball against the Chief defense. And Leonard Fournette is in beast mode right now. He really is. He's really taken over that running back position, and he's the guy. Brady's got so many weapons. It's going to be a great game. And, RJ brings up the fact of, the 6 of the last 7 Super Bowls with a total of 50 or 100, because this is a different game. And Pete, I may agree with you on the over if it was regular season, but it's the Super Bowl, and guys make different decisions. The reason why those games, I think, looking back, those games went under and they were supposed to go over is you're so good offensively, you don't have to take many chances early because you know what you have. So you want the other team to make the first mistake, and these games end up 3-0 after the first period, and now you need 57, 54 points in the next 3 periods, and it's hard to get to. Field goal kicking is way down. Percentage of guys making kicks. Guys don't, and coaches, they don't try those long field goals, in these games. Just the fact that they know there's more pressure on the kicker. So I'm on Bucs and under in the game.
I think I tend to lean towards the under as well here. Pete's on an island with this. I understand why the total is huge.
This is the first time the 2 top passing teams in the league have played against each other
in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that is interesting. And the one thing that's scary, I'm not taking the under in terms of my best bets or my picks in this game. Okay, and the main reason why is that I think I'm a little worried about the second half just turning into a score fest. I think back to that, I think it was like week 5 maybe in 2019 when Mahomes and the Chiefs went into Foxborough and played Brady and the Pats. And it was like kind of the Pats took a lead, the Chiefs came back, and it was sort of a back and forth in the third quarter. And then there were like 28 points scored in the fourth quarter. And I just feel like there's a decent chance that we see some kind of explosion like that because of, whether one team's chasing points or just because, these defenses, while good, are, capable of giving up these big plays, and the offenses can take big shots on the field. So I lean towards the under for sure, but I don't want to get in the way of it. I just don't think it'd be fun to root for it. As far as the line though, I love the Chiefs, man. I think the Chiefs, I understand why the ratings and like the power ratings and why the line is 3 and why the Chiefs and the Bucs are considered close. I mean, they beat them by 3 previously. There are 2 teams that, like the Buccaneers have been very good all year, and the Chiefs played with their food for the second half of the season. But I think if they'd had Mahomes healthy for the whole game against Cleveland, they probably win that game by 15 points. And maybe this line is like 4 or 5. And the way that they took care of the Bills, who were a really good football team, I mean, just dispatched of them. I don't want to rule out Tom Brady because he's freaking Tom Brady, but I think the Chiefs are just going to come in and move the ball at will and sling it all over the place. And they're not going to have an answer for Tyreek Hill. They're not going to have an answer for Travis Kelce. Mahomes is going to be on the move. Andy Reid will have some scripted stuff. And the Bucs are going to have to toss this Leonard Fournette thing out the window because they're going to be down 2 scores early when they go run, pass, and go 3 and out a couple of times. So I'm going to take the Chiefs for $50 -3. And then I'm also going to take, as a $5 alternate line bet, the Chiefs -20.5 plus 550. Because that's right. I think the Chiefs might blow out Tom Brady.
Yikes. 20.5.
Is somebody trying to win the playoff pool here right now with that one bet?
Yeah, it's five. It was five.
It's
I only win like
$5.
20.
Yeah, but what would you win on that?
32, maybe.
Yeah.
2750.
I had to get my bets in before the show, apparently. So
It's a novel idea, isn't it? You don't get it.
He waits till after the game usually, and he's still losing.
By the way, I walked in here on Monday into this trailer that we're using here at the set, and first thing Debo heard was, "Why can't Brinson ever get his damn picks on time?"
by the way, I don't know if you guys saw it. We're watching SportsCenter last night, but on Wednesday night, excuse me. Did you guys hear? They SportsCenter led with a PickSix podcast mention. That was fairly cool. Kevin Nagandi said,
"Everybody, that story."
Just thought I'd mention it. That was cool.
Kudos to you.
As fellow contributors to the PickSix podcast, I thought you'd be excited.
Don't ask the question by saying, "This is a dumb question," but
I mean, has Drew Brees retired? What's he doing? What's taking so long?
This is a dumb question, but
do you know why Drew Brees
anyways?
You know, I wanted to ask Sean Payton. Sean, do you believe that Drew Brees is delaying his retirement so the Super Bowl doesn't take away from it and everybody can spend 2 days talking about nothing but Drew Brees? Because that's what I believe, which is why he'll probably retire on Wednesday or Thursday after the Super Bowl once it's all cooled down. Your thoughts?
I might not argue with you on that one.
All right. Anyway, let's get to some player props. Pete, you have $150 on the over, which leaves you $50 left to spend. Something tells me you might just put a lunker down on a single player prop.
And I am all of it on Patrick Mahomes over passing yards. And that number's fluctuated. What is it at right now? It's moved a little bit this week.
It is at, give me 1 second. I will tell you. 332.5.
Yeah, it's gone from, it was 329. It went up as high as 334, I think, and it's kind of leveled in there a little bit. Look, he's going to 370, and so it's going over that total. And I think he's going to have a big day. I think Tampa Bay's got matchup problems. I don't think their corners are good enough. I know they've had a good postseason. I just think there's going to be opportunities for a lot of big shots down the field. And Mahomes, look, you mentioned Vea. He's really good against the run. But when you get that quarterback outside the pocket, I think that's a problem. And he's kind of nullified in that kind of sense. So I think Mahomes gets outside the pocket and creates all kinds of problems throwing the football down the field. So I'm going $50. I only have 2 plays, 150 on the over, and kind of correlated with it, I got Mahomes going over the total in passing yards.
And I'm on the opposite side of both of them. So hopefully one of us is going to finish in positive.
Well, that means that somebody on this podcast is going to have a good playoffs then.
Exactly. So we can be like, yeah, he did great. And don't worry about this. What the second place person had, it's he won it with plus whatever. Yeah, I'm going to go under 332.5 minus 115. So 23 to win 20. He's top 330 yards in 7 of 17 games this year and not gotten there in 4 straight. And that's against a wide range of opponents, not just a Super Bowl caliber defense like Tampa is bringing into this game. Mahomes has played 7 career postseason games. He hasn't topped 325 passing yards in each. And so is this the game he's going to set personal bests with his offensive line beat up and versus a good pass rush? I would lean against that. And if the Chiefs are in control in this game, which I know Brinson thinks that they might be because he has that blowout bet, I think the emphasis is getting him first downs, not chunk plays. And that's going to chew up clock. That's going to put less, passing yards on the board for him. And that gets him to, 305, 310 instead of in the high 300. So that's why I like the under on Mahomes passing yards.
Hey, RJ, don't you think the number is bloated and they're trying to beg people to take the under? I mean, it looks fishy.
They bloated because they know people are just going to take the over. I mean, they put it up and immediately got bet up to the over and they had to keep moving it. So, I mean, they just know people want to take over on Mahomes because he's one of the best players in the game, probably the best player in the game right now.
First thing, though, I got to tell you, Pete, is the guys that are putting up the numbers know nothing about anything more than we do, and they're just putting a number up, and they're trying to get two-way action, trying to get bets on the under, trying to get bets on the over, and there's not one line that's ever put out there that's a line that they're trying to get somebody to bet one way, because they don't want one-way action. They want two-way action. They want to go home. They don't want to have to spend any decisions because, first of all, they don't really get paid that much. And second of all, they got so much pressure from their bosses because their department wins the least amount of money of any department in the entire casino. And they're always under pressure. And they don't They don't want big decisions. They want small and they want two-way action, and that's all they want. And I'm telling you, they don't know anymore. They watch games like you and I, and that's it. So,
I mean, look, I think the one scary thing I would have about taking the under on Mahomes pass yards is that even with elite, like let's say they're up 21 points, I don't know that they're going to run the clock out by pounding the football. I just don't think you can run against Tampa Bay. And I think Andy Reid knows it. I think Andy Reid will be extremely opposed to the idea of allowing Tom Brady to, keep getting the ball on 3 and outs down 3 possessions and giving him a look to come back when they've already come back from 28-3 in a Super Bowl before it. He's Tom freaking Brady. And I just think that they'll probably keep throwing the ball even when they're down. So that would be my concern, is that the game script, no matter, even if the Chiefs in control, could lead to Mahomes going over that yardage, even if the total doesn't go over, because they might just, grind up clock in between the 20s.
My point is that the extended passing game, you're going 7-8 yards for high percentage plays, and you're not going for those chunk plays. So it does act kind of like the rushing attack. It's not like he's going to have 25 attempts is what I'm saying. It's just that he's going to have a lower yards per attempt number than we think if they're up big, because he's just going to be trying to get those first downs.
Yeah, I agree. And, there's only so many plays in a game, and these two teams do not play fast. Both teams about 27 and a half, 28 seconds between plays, which puts them right in the middle average NFL teams, and their defenses are good. So actually teams don't get as many plays against either defense. So I've got average plays, 62 plays for each team in the game. It's about a play below the NFL average. So only so many things can happen. It's like people, when you look at the win totals at the beginning of the season, you look for unders because there's only so many wins that can happen. But when you add up the win total, there's 6 or 7 more on the board than can actually happen in a season, because they shade to the over and everything. They shade to the over and all the props, and games can still go over. Obviously they do, but the books have only lost in the prop betting 2 out of the last 25 years. They've cleaned up 23 out of 25 years because everybody bets over and everything.
And unders typically win on these prop situations, but they sure as hell are not fun to bet, especially Patrick Mahomes under passing yards. But you guys both have it, RJ and Kenny. Pete, again, is on the over for 50. Kenny is on the
By the
under.
way, one prop I do like a great deal, and I've put it out all week on our props here at HQ, is I like Chris Godwin over 5.5. That's one of my I didn't put any money on it on this show, but that's one of my favorite props of the week. I think he caught 8 passes the last time they played. Didn't catch a touchdown, but I think he's going to be a factor in the middle of the field. I think he gets 9 again this week.
Ooh, interesting.
One thing, what about Antonio Brown? Is he playing or not? Do we know?
Yeah. But they say he's getting better. So what does that mean? Who knows?
If you like the Godwin overs, I mean, I would assume that Brown playing is currently baked in, and that if Antonio Brown is ruled out either today or tomorrow or even Sunday, that you will see those Godwin numbers come off the board temporarily and get marked back down. So if you agree with Pete and you do like the Godwin numbers, I think that now would be the time to take them rather than waiting to see. Because like if Antonio Brown's active, I don't think they'll scale Godwin down to 3.5 or 4.5, But if I don't know what, although the last playoff game when Brown was ruled out, they took it off, and then Godwin came back at 5.5 anyway, and he caught 5 naturally. Kenny, you've got
Antonio Brown's up right now, 3.5 receptions, 42.5 yards. So if he's ruled out, there's 3.5 more receptions and 42 more yards that you have to add to the other players.
What's Scotty Miller on there right now?
He may not be up. I haven't seen him up because I've been looking for him. Longest reception, 11.5 yards. Total yards, 13.5.
For Scotty Miller?
Total receptions, 1.5 under -170.
Well, if Scotty Miller catches a pass, it's going to be for more than 13 yards.
He's 15.5 receiving yards at William Hill. That's not a bad bet either. I kind of like that.
No.
Even if Antonio Brown plays.
Right. You might get him 1-on-1 and get a deep ball, at least get a shot against him.
All right, Kenny, you got a rushing prop and also a spicy little prop parlay.
Yeah, I do. I like, as I said, watching Leonard Fournette play last week. I mean, I feel like he's in beast mode. That 20-yard touchdown run, he looks like he's in great shape right now. Arian said beginning of the year, he's our guy on third down. He's our passing back. When we need to pass, he's going to be in the game. Last week he had 44 snaps. Jones had 19 snaps, and I the effort that both guys gave, I see that number being moved up. 50 snaps for Leonard in this game, maybe 10 for Jones. That's just snaps. That doesn't mean he's going to get the ball when Jones is in. So I went under 35.5 rushing yards for Ronald Jones. I just don't think he gets the touches in this game. And then the big, I went $33 on that one. I went $33 on the Mahomes passing yards under. And then the combo one I have Tom Brady to have the most passing yards in the game and Travis Kelce to have the most receiving yards in the game. And that's $8. I put $10 on that to win 80.
Ooh, I kind of like that. Tyreek Hill's a little scary, and obviously, but you would think the Buccaneers guys will be sort of distributed more evenly.
See, I like Kelce under. I'm in the minority on that one. I think they're going to focus on taking him away in a big way.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Why not take away Tyreek Hill? I mean, I don't know if you've mentioned this one or two times this week on HQ, but how do they stop Tyreek Hill?
They don't.
That's right. I mean, they gave it 269 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns to Tyreek Hill when they played week 12.
What do you have? 200 in the first quarter, right?
He had 120 yards receiving on touchdowns in the first
2 touchdowns. Yeah. 75 and a 44.
Yep.
They did make an adjustment during that game and got a little bit better, but they didn't have Vita Vea. And did you know he's only got 7 letters in that name, but his real name, he's got like 8 names.
No, I did not know that.
His name's like that long.
I would like to thank Vita Vea for saving sports writers.
Oh, no doubt about it.
From having to
I
call
got about 8 names too. King, Prince of Props. I got a bunch of them.
Prince props.
Pistol.
Nobody's ever called you Prince of Props.
Disco Prisco.
Disco Prisco. I've been called that before.
By a former
Nolan Richardson.
Nolan Richardson, the old what was it, 40 Minutes of Hell, or was that Kentucky?
Yeah, that's 40 Minutes of Hell. Good.
Yeah.
We can go
He didn't like me.
I try to get you a sponsor. Maybe we'll go with Crisco Prisco.
Or Cisco Kid.
All right. Anyway,
Nobody ever said the Prisco Kid was a friend of mine either.
All right. I've got 4 player props here. I'm going to take over Patrick Mahomes passing attempts at 40.5. It jumped up to 135 while I was in the app. They must know that my computer must be sharp or something. Putting 25 on that. I think Mahomes will throw. I think he's just going to throw 45. I think that number's short, and I think ultimately they will have to throw the ball, even if it's short passes, to win this game and to salt the game away. And so I don't think we'll see a ton of running from them, and I think they'll come out passing the ball early and often. Tyreek Hill over receiving yards for $20. It's at 93.5. I mean, good luck taking him away. I don't know that you can do it. Even like at some point, he's going to catch a long pass, just like in a playground style situation with Mahomes. You know, if he's running around and they get some pressure in there, and so naturally, I'm going to take the over on Tyreek's longest reception at 27.5. I am also going to take. I found this in. I don't know if it's Odd Boost or Specials on William Hill, but I believe it was. Yeah, it's on. It's under Specials on William Hill. And the first one is Tom Brady over 299.5 passing yards. Patrick Mahomes over 299.5 passing yards plus 160. What am I missing here? Both those guys need to have 300 yards. I think they get there because I think both teams have to pass the ball a lot. And I think, you know, if the Chiefs have any kind of lead, Brady's going to get there. And again, I think Mahomes is going to have to throw a ton. So those are all a little correlated, but those are my player props. RJ, give me a touchdown prop that you're looking at.
Yeah, so we're looking at Mike Evans is 10-1 to get the first touchdown. I actually dove into the player to score the first points in the game, which cycles in the kickers as well, to get 14-1 on Mike Evans. I think there's a good chance the Bucs get the ball first. Tampa hasn't deferred the last 2 times they won the coin toss at the end of the regular season. What happened was the Falcons didn't defer against them, and for whatever reason they were like, "Oh, that looks good. Let's try it ourselves." So week 16, week 17, they won the coin toss, didn't defer. I think they can put together a long drive if they get the ball first, get in the red zone, get a touchdown. Their best red zone weapon is Evans, who's had 2 touchdowns in the first meeting. He had 9 targets, 3 catches, and 2 of them were touchdowns. So he scored the first touchdown in the Bucs' last 2 games, and the first points in the Packers game was a touchdown. That was his touchdown. So I like that first points boost over first touchdown. And Tampa knows they have to be aggressive against that Kansas City offense. So I'm going $10, 14-1. Mike Evans to score the first points in the game to win 140.
All right. Pete's got to go. He's got HQ duties. You got his bets in. Those are his best bets. Maybe next year, folks who complain that people disappear in the middle of this podcast, we'll get everybody on at the same time for the full show.
Oh, I got another one. Public Pete.
Oh,
You know what, Kenny? If you had been public Kenny, you might have beat me this year.
That was no kidding. I don't know, but you did really. Hey, the year of the underdog, you actually hit 57 or 58%.
I usually take underdogs, Kenny. That's why you said the other day that I take
I know
favorites.
you do.
I don't take favorites.
I know you do. You used to 2 years ago.
Favorites.
Oh
I was always
boy.
a dog player.
Seemed like every show I was on with you was like the favorite. But yeah, you had a lot of dogs this year. That's why you did.
Dogs
All right.
bark. Where's your dog, Brinson?
he's at the beach with my my wife and my son.
I can get my
Like
dog to
Brady
bark
during
on
Super Bowl,
command.
we can get rid of the whole family.
I got so much work to do, honey. Get out of town.
So, hey, I can get my dog to bark on command at any time I want.
Please do not do that. Pete, you're getting barked at to get over to the HQ
Yeah.
set.
All right, guys. I'll
Thanks,
see you.
bud. Yeah. All right, let's keep rolling on these props. We got some more touchdown props as well. I got 2 first TD score props I'm going to take. Sort of chalky. The first one, I'm going to put $20 on Tyreek Hill first touchdown, 6.5-1. I like that first points move, RJ. That's pretty smart. I think Tyreek Hill is just going to be the focus of this offense, and maybe it's dumb, maybe it's chalky. I think they can get a 3 and out, and then an up top shot to Tyreek Hill on a play. You get him isolated against Carlton Davis, and it's a quick touchdown. And by the way, if Antoine Winfield is out of this game, and we don't know if he'll be out until Sunday for sure, that is a big loss and a reason to like the Tyreek overs even more. And I'm going to put $10 on Patrick Mahomes to score the first touchdown, 16-1. They have shown a willingness to use his legs in the red zone. I know he's banged up, but he's had 2 weeks to get healthy since that Bills game. And he rolled into, was it Cleveland where he ran the option? I think Andy Reid, it's the last game of the year. They're going to pull out all the stops. They'll use those plays with Patrick Mahomes running down by the goal line. And when you get those jet sweeps and you have Kelsey and Hill flooding one side of the field, it opens up everything to the right side. And you can see Mahomes just strolling on an option player, on just on a read option or anything like that.
And when you have the offensive line issues that they have at tackle, the best thing you do to combat that is move the pocket. So you get him out on the move, and if it's there, it's 5 yards in, and you just got to clear a lane. Of course, he's going to go and take him.
That's right. And I'm also going to take. This got really juicy, so I ended up scaling it. I'm putting $16 on it, basically to win, I think 10. Is that right? It's Mahomes over 2 touchdowns -170. If you listen to the podcast earlier in the week, you could have gotten it at -150. It jumped up again while I was like putting in my shopping cart at William Hill, even though I couldn't check out. But over 2.5 passing touchdowns for Mahomes -170. And if they get out of the red zone and he runs one in, obviously I've got that, hopefully it's the first one. Any other touchdown props for you, RJ or Kenny?
Yeah, I got one last touchdown, but we'll see if Kenny has anything before we get to that.
I did not. Do not have a touchdown prop, but I do like that player to score points first in the game. And notice that the field goal kickers are the favorites in that. And I don't think it's going to be a field goal this year. I think these 2 teams know kicking is for losers, and you have to score touchdowns to win football games.
I agree with you. I think that, first of all, that's how Andy Reid operates. And second of all, that field is going to be wet. It's that natural grass. You're not going to get great plants in it, and it just feels like a convertible 4th and 2 is you're way more likely to convert a 4th and 2 with these offenses and these quarterbacks than you are to kick a 45, 50-yard field goal. And I think, Bruce Arians has to know that you can't come in here and try and beat the Chiefs to field goals. Like if the Buccaneers kick a field goal on 4th and short on their first possession, live bet the Chiefs. Hammer live bet the crap out of the Chiefs and hope the Bucs make it, because Kansas City will roll over them if Bruce Arians plays scared.
Yeah, so my last touchdown prop is the last touchdown prop. It's the who's going to score the last touchdown of the game. And this was the one I had a couple bucks left, so I went deep into the well and took Anthony Sherman at 100-1, put $1 on it. So why wouldn't Andy Reid script a little used player, a red zone look to ice the game? I mean, it just seems like right up his alley. Sherman's had 4 touches this year. One of them was a catch. That catch was a touchdown in a huge matchup with the Ravens. It was week 3. It looked like the presumptive battle for the number 1 seed. You had to win this game because it might decide home field advantage. And he went to Sherman, early in the game for a touchdown. And Reed dialed up a misdirection play to ice the game in that game. It was a touchdown to Eric Fisher. So I think they were up 4 at the time. They were up a little bit at the time, and that iced the game for him. So I could see something like that happening here. If it's a close game, he has the stones to do it. He'll call one of those type of plays. So getting 100-1 with Anthony Sherman, I mean, that's a long shot lottery ticket play, but putting $1 on it, why not?
I like it.
I like it a lot.
Okay. Kicking props. You guys each have a kicking prop. What are you looking at, Kenny?
I went back to the last 21 Super Bowls and I did indoor-outdoor stats for the kickers to see. I read an article a couple weeks ago that was talking about field goals all time, 40 plus in the Super Bowl are 54%. And the regular season, they're like 65%. So it's 11% higher regular season than the Super Bowl. It shows you the pressure in the game, but that is also going back 50 years, and kicking wasn't as good as it is now. So I did go back and I looked at the kickers. Kicking is not bad. It's about 5%, the percentage, those longer kicks in the Super Bowl than it is regular season. So there is pressure there, but I went back and you just don't find many long field goals. My median long for indoor games was 43 and the median long for outdoor games was 43. I was amazed. The kickers actually have kicked better outdoors, slightly better than they have indoors in the last 20 years. But I think that comes back a little bit. But I'm going to go under 46.5, the longest field goal, 44 to win 40. Again, I agree with you. 4th and 2, 4th and 3. These coaches are going for it. They know a missed field goal is a turnover. I think they'd rather go for it, put it in their quarterback's hand than have it in their kicker's hands or feet.
And my pick is kind of along that same line. It's both teams make a 35+ yard field goal. I took no at -140, 28 to win 20. I think there's a couple different ways you get to this. Like you guys are saying, you got to go for it on 4th down. So that would also, limit the ability to kick long field goals. Then the weather, we've talked about the weather. It could be bad weather, wet field early in the first half, early in the game. And that could limit the opportunities for long field goals there. And then, so you throw all that out and you just look at the math. I mean, in 2020 season, the Chiefs have kicked a 35+ yard field goal in 10 of their 18 games. The Bucs have done it in 13 of 19 games. If you multiply those ratios together, you get about a 38% chance both things happen, or a 62% chance no hits. That equates to about 160, 162, around there, -162. So getting -140 is already a good price just in standard conditions, not worrying about the weather, not worrying about the situation, not worrying about the team you're facing. So I do think we're getting a lot of value there. So I'm willing to lay the -140 on this prop.
All right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that a lot. All right. Other props. Ooh, man, I love this first one that you've got here, RJ, involving a higher, and I sort of referenced it, I thought, early in the game when I talked about the under in this game, but more points in the second half as a top prop for you.
Yeah, you got to lay 1.5 points, and you got to lay -125. Now it's gone up because people see the logic in taking the second half / overtime. So I'm going 25 to 120 on that. Super Bowls in recent years have tended to start slowly as teams feel each other out. You just look to last year; it was a lower scoring one. Well, we've just seen that in the past. 17 of the last 22 Super Bowls have had more points in the second half, including each of the last 4. So that -125 is a steep price. So hopefully, you're able to get it early. But I think even at -125, just having to lay 1.5, I like this one.
Kenny, what you got for us?
I did total players with a pass attempt in the game over 2.5 plus $1.50. So obviously I need a Philly special, or I need a second string quarterback to be in the game at one point to throw a pass for some reason or another. And I like the chance of a Philly special better, maybe. Just a trick play maybe in this game setup. Neither guy are really trick play type of coaches, but I'm thinking we may see a second string quarterback in this game.
What about that Travis Kelce type thing where he lines up under center and takes a run in the goal line? He stops that and he ducks it over the top, and then you get a touchdown to whoever it is, Anthony Sherman, hopefully at the end of the game. So
yeah, I don't know if they try that one.
Wow, what would that be? Kelce to Sherman for a touchdown. It's just we'll call that a whiteout if that happens, because Kenny and RJ will both hit their
whiteout.
So, the other thing, I don't even like to speak this into existence, but Chad Henne, something happened to Mahomes, you'd hit the over on that prop. Obviously, you wouldn't feel very good about. You feel pretty good about your Bucs bet.
Something happens to a 43-year-old quarterback, and you have
sure. Or maybe they feel like Leonard Fournette. They got to get Leonard Fournette more involved, and that involves. I do think I love taking the over in those. I know this doesn't feel like it because you can't easily identify somebody who's attempted to pass, but we have. Tommy Townsend's got one for the Chiefs this year. Travis Kelce has 2 attempts. Obviously, Henne has like 38, and Sammy Watkins has 1 as well. So it's not out of the question that Andy Reid has something in the bag that he just hasn't used from a fake perspective, and you get one. Gabbert's the only other guy that has attempted one for the. It feels like it's got to come from KC.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. All right, but I like that.
You also don't rule out with the wet conditions a mishandle on a field goal, and the holder picks it up and just tosses it trying to make something happen. I don't know if that counts. If it's a field goal attempt, that counts as a pass attempt. So that'll get you.
Okay. And as much jet motion and as many sweeps and end arounds as the Chiefs utilize pre-snap, you can easily get yourself in a position where Mecole Hardman or Tyreek Hill is like holding the ball. And I don't think Andy Reid likes to take the ball out of their hands because they're so speedy. But you do like a double end around, all of a sudden Sammy Watkins has got, and he's bombing one down to Mahomes again, like they did earlier. Is that the end of the year? Or was that in the playoffs?
I think it was end of the year.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, RJ, what else you got?
Yeah, I looked at the largest lead in the game. This was 13.5 last year. This 14.5 this year at -110. I took the under on that, 33 to win 30. 14 is a pretty key number for this. You take a 2-touchdown lead. This is a big line for a prop, considering we're talking about a 3-point spread. Only 4 of the last 17 Super Bowls have featured a 15-point lead by one team, and I know some of those had a bigger than 3-point spread. So maybe Mahomes goes.
RJ, what was that number? How many Super Bowls?
4 of the last 17 have featured a 15-point lead. Nice. So I know maybe Mahomes goes bonkers start to finish and we get one of those Brinson blowouts that he's betting on. But if the Bucs are in this game at all, and I think the presumed wisdom is that they will be, I think it's going to hit. I don't think you're going to see either of these teams open up a 15-point lead. So 33 to win 30 there on that prop.
All right, Kenny?
I like that. I'm writing that prop down so I can go bet that after we're off here. Will the game be decided by exactly 3 points? Yes is plus 350.
By the way, can you explain that to me, Kenny? Because we asked this question on the podcast the other day. Like, if the line is 3, is that just a case of 3 is the number that will get equal money on both sides? In reality, because it's minus 450. No, it will end on 3, which means that the books think it is highly unlikely that the line is actually correct.
I guess
what I'm saying. Like
right now, the money was at minus 3 on the Chiefs, and most of the Buck money is at plus 3.5.
Oh, okay.
Right now,
so in other words,
to land Kansas City 3. So
could it be a situation where the sharp guys like the Chiefs minus 3, but they're just waiting to see what happens with it? The sharps are on Tampa in this game. They're taking 3.5. They're not taking 3. They'll pass the 3. They're taking the 3.5 because it's a key number, and they know that it could be a field goal game. And so it's like every book they're taking $100, $200, $500,000 bets, and it adds up to whatever their limit is, 25 to 50,000, and then they're moving it to 3.5. And within minutes, somebody's taking the 3.5 for their limit, and they're back to 3. And then they're back to taking $100, $200, $500 bets.
But that's kind of stopped. About 2-3 days ago. The numbers haven't moved off 3. It's been 3 for 2 or 3 days now.
Well, I like to point out too, Kenny, that you and I talked about this on Monday after the championship weekend,
Right?
2 weeks, almost 2 full weeks ago. And you're like, this line isn't moving. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be basically at 3, and it has sat there at 3 minus 120 for the most part, except as you mentioned, moving a little bit back and forth. But you like it ends up at exactly 3 points.
Yeah, it's I should have done the math here. I know it's about a 15% chance that every game, is going to land 3.
Sure.
So I think with a game that is 3, I did the numbers years ago. Games that are 3 land 3. It's like 24% of the time. So 1 out of 4 shot, and you're giving me plus 350.
Sure. All right.
So I'm supposed to get $4, but this game I've got it 3 as well. So I think that's where this game ends up. So taking a shot at it a little bit. Maybe I should be getting a little bit higher. Maybe I should be getting $4, but I thought this looked like a good prop. I think Tampa could win by 3.
I like it. RJ?
Yeah, I'm putting a whopping $0 on this one. And the reason is we had a limited budget to work with, and this is a minus 190. So I didn't want to burn any of the budget betting it. But my favorite prop is probably will the team that scores last win the game? And that's yes, minus 190. Even laying that 190, yes has hit each of the last 7 years and 14 of the last 15 overall. Even if one team is up 2 scores, our D isn't going to want to give up the another team any chance to crack open the door and get into this. So I don't think you're going to see any relaxing on defense in this game. And I would just play the trends there. Minus 190 is not a big price to play if it's hitting 14 out of 15 times.
Okay. I dig it. And of course, we're not losers like Pete. So we're going to have some MVP bets. Kenny, you got a pair of them. No surprise to anybody. You're picking the Bucs against the spread. I think, did you take you? And you like the Bucs to win outright, I think, just because of the trends that usually the team that covers wins. You have and so you have some value on the Bucs money line. So I would assume that your picks here for the MVP are going to be from the Bucs.
Yeah, just pick the winner of the game, and you're going to cover the spread 45, 6, and 2 all time. I like the Bucs, so instead of taking the money line at plus $1.50, I'll take a shot with Tom Brady at plus $2. If they win 8 of the last 11 years, a quarterback that's been the MVP of the game, so good chance it's going to be a quarterback. So I took Brady plus $2 for 30 to win 60, and then I also took a shot with Antonio Brown at 50 to 1, $10, and that wins 500.
And that's the way to go if you do like the Bucs instead of the money line, because people are going to be pouring it on the money line. If they take the Bucs, they're going to take the money line. That number's going to come down. And oddly enough, that Brady number was plus 190. It's up to plus 200. So you're getting even better value if you get it right now at plus 200, especially with the Bucs money line probably coming down with people hammering that instead of the spread.
And that's what I think we talked about that. Will remember on last Monday that I said if you like Kansas City, you should wait as long as possible because you'll get a cheap money line. And you'll be better off laying that money line than you will be laying 3 minus 20.
All right. RJ, you've got a long shot for MVP.
Yeah. So I was looking at the what if a quarterback doesn't win? Because, 9 of the 54 Super Bowls, a defender has won. And then 2 of the last 14, 10 of the last 14 has been quarterbacks. 2 of them were receivers. 2 of them were defenders. So I think the Chiefs could win this game, but see Mahomes limited a bit with those OL injuries. He doesn't have a 300-yard game. He doesn't have 3 touchdowns like you guys are betting on. So I went with Chris Jones at 80 to 1, $1 to win $80. He shows up in big games. He did so last year in the Super Bowl. His stats weren't huge, but he was knocking down passes. There was a lot of, buzz that he's wrecking, havoc in that game. And I think Brady can be thrown off by interior pressure. We've seen that time and time again. Jones could get his name called a bunch in this game. They're like, oh my God, the Bucs are at 10 points, and it's the third quarter. Chris Jones is really dominating this line. So after some buzz that Jones was like a dark horse MVP worthy candidate last year, if he is having another big game, I think that just kind of compounds and he gets an even bigger push from the writers saying, well, Mahomes isn't playing well. We gave him the MVP last year. Maybe we should have given it to the running back instead. So let's go ahead and just go off the board here to the best defensive player in this game for the winning team, which I think will be Chris Jones.
All right, I would take Mahomes. Easy money. He's minus 120. It's better value than the money line. Give me the best guy in the game, the quarterback that they're going to award for the MVP if the Chiefs win. Mahomes has a huge game, and it's not too far away from even money, which it almost never is in that spot. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, Frank Stampfl will be breaking down DFS. Kenny, RJ, great stuff all season long. Let's go win some money on the Super Bowl.